Well, we're here. Are you listening, MAGA? This is for you as well. We're here. We're in a big brother dystopia. Officially. The Trump administration just signed the contracts to use technology to track you and track me with facial recognition, iris recognition. And it's software that can also access our iPhones, our smartphones, and track our locations. And it's also software that plugs into our social media to monitor what we're doing, what we're saying, and also track our locations. And right now, the Trump administration is using the excuse that they're going after Antifa, meaning protesters out protesting ICE. But make no mistake, MAGA, this is all of us. This is tracking you one day. This is tracking you one day. This is so invasive and in violation of our rights. I can't even see straight. I don't care if you're out protesting ICE or not. Every single American should be afraid. And the cost is north of $1.4 billion a month of your tax dollars and my tax dollars to go track where some person wearing a frog costume is located, to see who's standing next to them by reading their irises, facial recognition, by accessing their tracking devices on their smartphones and through their social media. I have not dug in deep enough to see if our favorite plantier, Peter Thiel's company, is behind this.
Well, this is legitimately fucking terrifying. ICE is planning to massively expand its surveillance operation by hiring contractors to monitor your social media, your data, and your life. I'm Eliza Orland's career public defender for 15 years in Manhattan, and you need to understand what is coming. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, has put out plans to station nearly 30 private contractors in their targeting centers in Vermont and California. Their job? Scour Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, even foreign sites for posts, photos, and messages. This isn't just casual browsing. Analysts will be armed with commercial databases. They will be using LexisNexis and Thomson Reuters Clear. They will be pulling property records, phone bills, vehicle registrations, even utility accounts. Then they'll package all of it into dossiers that can be used for deportation raids and arrests. And they'll be under the gun to work fast. Urgent cases must be turned around within 30 minutes, high priority cases in an hour, every other lead by the end of the day. You know what speed means when it comes to these investigations? It means mistakes. And when mistakes mean arrests, families get torn apart. But it goes even deeper than that, because ICE wants to weave in artificial intelligence algorithms to scan for so-called threats, including people showing negative sentiment toward the agency. In plain English, political speech could be treated as a security risk. And remember, every piece of this data, your location trails, your online connections, your photos, your biometrics, feeds into ICE's central hub, Palantir's investigative case management system, a platform already capable of searching hundreds of categories from immigration status to scars, tattoos, and license plate data. Every new contract, Clearview AI for facial recognition, Shadow Dragon for mapping social networks, Babel Street for smartphone location histories, just adds more layers to the file ICE can build on you. ICE says these tools modernize enforcement, but history tells us something different. Surveillance aimed at immigrants or one group never stays limited to that group. Privacy advocates are sounding the alarm because this isn't about raids. This is about political speech, it's about dissent, it's about journalism, it's sweeping up friends, families, and communities into a dragnet, whether or not they've done anything wrong. And past experience proves the so-called guardrails don't hold. Local police and ICE have already traded database access to get around restrictions. ICE even reactivated a spyware deal this summer after Trump took office that can allegedly hack into encrypted apps like WhatsApp and Signal. This is how mass surveillance becomes normalized. It starts with immigrants, but it will not end there. I did a whole TED talk on unlawful surveillance, and I strongly encourage you to go look it up. Let me know if you want more videos about what to do, how you can protect yourself, and make sure you're following me for more breakdowns, because everyone needs to know what's happening before it is too late.
Family, many white Americans are complaining about government surveillance, especially during protests. We now know of the No Kings protests that are going on. And family, a lot of Americans are complaining, saying that they are being surveilled. And family, many white folks are regretting voting for Donald Trump. They are regretting voting for a fascist government. And right now they are seeing what black people have been complaining about for the longest time. They are saying that they are being tracked, filmed, and monitored like criminals, But hold on, family. Where was this outrage when black folks were saying the very same things for many years? Many a times when black people used to complain about the same things, to them that was nothing. But family, right now we are seeing many white folks who voted for Trump in large numbers are now seeing, why they put in office a wrong leader. You see, black Americans have been living under constant surveillance for decades. Police cameras, facial recognition, tracking, phone taps, all justified as law enforcement. But now, what white protesters are feeling, the same pressure, suddenly it's a violation of freedom. Isn't that ironic? Family, many folks are tired with the leadership of Donald Trump, saying they're being surveilled and they do not want that, they do not feel safe, under constant surveillance from the government. I want you to watch this video all the way to the end. Once the video is done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this video together, family.
Breaking news. Forget everything you thought you knew about privacy in America. We have some absolutely chilling news right now. ICE, the agency meant to handle immigration, is now building a massive surveillance state to target American citizens. And who are they targeting? According to a bombshell report from the Washington Post, they're going after anyone the administration labels Antifa, a term they can apply to virtually any protest group they don't like. This isn't about immigration. It's about crushing dissent. The acting director of ICE went on Glenn Beck's show and openly declared their mission. We're going to track the money. We're going to track these ringleaders. They are actively purchasing an arsenal of spy tech, iris scanners, face scanners, and even spyware that can remotely hack into your cell phone and track your location data. Let's be clear. This is the weaponization of a federal agency against Americans who dare to speak out against the government. This is a 5-alarm fire for civil liberties. You need to read the full Washington Post article. This is terrifying. Spread the word, because silence is complicity. Follow along for updates you won't see anywhere else.
When you think about the surveillance state, you think about the government watching everything that you do through cameras posted throughout a city. But the funny thing is that you're the surveillance state and I'm the surveillance state. Our iPhones have made all the civilians surveillers. We're constantly recording each other the second that we step outside. If anything goes awry, there's 9 people recording it and getting ready to post it online. And we're also the state that punishes, because we've all been weaponized against each other to take private affairs that happen in a certain community and blow them up to a global scale. And then we do our crazy collective punishment. And punishment is a very fluid idea that is defined by literally every person who decides they want to take action. Not saying that we haven't caught some pretty horrific things from people recording and people doing things that, like, in a sense, you'll see it and you're like, you know what? If that's how you're going to act, I hope you feel comfortable acting that way in front of everybody. But at the same time, slippery slope alert. People just record someone not doing anything. They can add a caption of what they were doing, and then we'll just take their word for it, because why would they lie? Oh, wait, because people lie sometimes. So, yeah.
According to a new Washington Post investigation, ICE, the agency that was supposed to handle immigration enforcement, just signed over $1.4 billion in new surveillance contracts. But here's the part no one's talking about. These tools aren't just for immigrants anymore. Surprise. The Post reports that ICE is buying spyware that can hack into phones, that record protests. And facial recognition tech linked to Clearview AI. They're also building a 24/7 social media monitoring hub to track what Americans are posting on their Facebook, TikTok, and WhatsApp, supposedly to identify anti-ICE extremists. That phrase, anti-ICE extremists, is doing a lot of heavy lifting, don't you think? Because it could mean journalists, protesters, or literally anyone criticizing the government. So when we say ICE is becoming Trump's private police, this is what we mean. They're shifting from deportations to descenders, from border patrol to political surveillance. They don't need brown shirts. They have badges. They have drones. They have spyware. And now they have permission. So ask yourself, why an agency that was supposed to be enforcing immigration rules is now surveilling American citizens? Why?
Donald Trump is literally turning the United States into a surveillance state. They're building a massive system that's going to give ICE access to millions of Americans' IRS data. This includes your tax records and addresses. This computer program will give ICE on-demand access to taxpayers' data so they can hunt down and deport people that they want to deport. What's crazy is that internal emails are showing the agency's own general counsel is warning that ICE's request to access 7.3 million records is illegal. The guy who warned about this was then fired 2 days later. Their goal is to launch this system by the end of July and deport 3,000 people a day. I can't help but wonder how many of these people are going to be innocent American citizens or immigrants that are here legally. Think about what they're doing here. They're literally weaponizing the IRS, an agency that holds some of your most sensitive information. And it's being handed over to ICE for mass deportations. No warrants, no court oversight, just raw access to your home address via tax records. And if they're doing this to 7 million Americans today, what's stopping them from expanding it to political opponents? What we are witnessing is surveillance and authoritarianism in the United States.
This weekend's No Kings protests were some of the biggest our country has seen in years. They were peaceful, widespread, and powerful. But while people filled the streets, experts say something else filled the skies: surveillance. Civil liberties groups like the ACLU and the Electronic Frontier Foundation warn that law enforcement may have quietly used advanced tracking tech during the rallies. We're talking facial recognition cameras, drones, and license plate scanners, and also cell site simulators, which are fake cell towers that trick your phone into connecting so your location and data can be logged. According to internal Homeland Security memos, even live streaming a rally, wearing a mask, or just biking nearby could be flagged as violent tactics. Think about that. The same tools once used to find fugitives are now being pointed at citizens chanting about democracy. So what happens to our data? Experts say it can be stored, shared across federal databases, or matched with social media profiles to build threat assessments. Those files can follow people for years, showing up in background checks, travel screenings, and predictive policing algorithms. In other words, attend a protest and end up in a system you can't see or challenge. Reuters, Wired, and the ACLU have all confirmed there are no clear limits on how long agencies can keep or reuse our information. And in past cases, protest data has even been shared with private contractors or foreign parties. The irony couldn't be louder. A movement called No Kings, built to resist authoritarian power, may have been tracked by the kind of surveillance network authoritarian regimes rely on. So if you marched or even watched from your phone, congrats. You might have just joined the largest digital protest record in history. Stay informed, stay encrypted, and remember, privacy isn't paranoia when the cameras are already rolling.
Don't be an agent of the surveillance state. So I just saw a video of this white woman who was standing up to ICE. They were trying to detain a Hispanic man, and she used the power that she had in the moment, recording them, yelling at them and stuff like that, which is like cool. That's what you should do, especially if there were multiple of you able to do that at that time. But there were so many people in the comments who were like, who are these women? We need to find them so that they can get recognition, so that we can tell them that they're doing a great job. Guys, women, they, thems, people, don't be an agent of the surveillance state. If you see videos like this, if you recognize somebody that you know, even if you don't know them, don't go looking for them on social media, because all you're doing is playing into the surveillance state and giving these people over to the authorities. Like, I understand that you want to like say thank you, but the one, in that moment, they're probably not even thinking that they need that. But two, you are going to do more harm than good. So just don't do it. Pretend like you never saw the video. You never saw them. Don't look at it, and especially do not tag them or find their personal social medias, their job, anything, and tag them. Don't do that. Y'all just don't.
Family, Donald Trump has turned out to be a leader who's actually a fascist. We've seen him in many things that he's been doing under his second term as the president of the United States of America. Many a times we've had him, hit the headlines each and every day, passing laws that are not beneficial, and laws that many a times do not sit well, with its citizens. Family, the other day we also saw Donald Trump saying that he will not allow any media house to criticize him. He does not want criticism, and he's the head of state. Family, Donald Trump is holding a public office, but it's very, very weird, the fact that he does not want to be questioned. He does not want to be criticized, and he said he'll revoke the licenses of any, media station that would want to criticize him publicly. Family, after that, we also saw the PM Bondi saying, that she will ensure that anybody who utters hate speeches during the time of the death of Charlie Kirk would also be prosecuted, And family, you wonder where America is going. For me, I see a lot of fascism with a lot of the decisions that are being made by people who are in leadership positions. They do not care about the interests, of its own citizens. They are pushing their own agendas. And family, right now, seeing, what is happening with the government putting up surveillance everywhere and ensuring they're tracking phones, in protest to take photos of people, face recognition technologies. That to me is just a breach, to the right of the citizens of America. And funnily enough, this is something that black folks have been complaining about for the longest time. And this is what I call the heavy cost of racism, because now white people have started seeing, something that black folks have been crying about for yet a long time. This is now becoming interesting. White Americans are finally realizing that the US is turning into a surveillance state. You got folks out here saying things like, the government is watching us. They're tracking our phones. They're using facial recognition during protests. And family, that is making people to be very, very much afraid, because critical information about yourself could be out there. Immediately you leave your door. They're tracking your phones. They are using facial recognition, during protests, and they can actually get your location very, very fast. And this is something that the government has invested a lot of money into. Family, we notice Donald Trump has a lot of misplaced priorities in a time where he should be considering to ensure that now Americans are able to get many of the benefits they are lacking, like food stamps, which they'll be lacking from November. He's still investing a lot of money in projects like surveillance. This is costing them more than 1 billion shillings more than $1 billion per month, to just ensure that they track people during protests. That just shows you how misplaced, he is when it comes to priorities. The other day, we also saw him give 40 billion to Argentina. Family, in a time when Americans needed that money very, very much, and it only costs 8 billion per month to ensure that the vulnerable communities, the vulnerable groups in America can be able to get food stamps per month, but he chose to give out 40 billion, to Argentina. And you wonder, why are you giving other countries money when your country needs money? Right now, the government has shut down, but at the same time, we are seeing other countries enjoying while America is struggling. How can you fund other countries while your own country is just falling each and every day? And family, many people are saying these were the unprecedented times that many prophets have been prophesying about. The fall of America, the fall of America's government, and this is what many people have been prophesying, and we are seeing it happening right now. This issue of surveillance is actually nothing new. This is something that Black people have been saying for decades now. It's funny how something only becomes a national emergency when it starts affecting the white folks directly. When Black activists were being monitored by the FBI, followed and targeted, and nobody cared in the time. When Black Lives Matter protesters, say they were being tracked, people call them paranoid. But now the tables have turned. We are now seeing white folks being tracked, in protest. We are seeing white folks complain, saying, their facial recognition. Immediately they move outside their houses, going to protests. The very same problem that was affecting Black people has now shifted to be a white problem. Today, white Americans are protesting government overreach, saying they're being recorded, that drones are flying overhead, and that the police are scanning their faces, and they are shocked. They're shocked that America, the land of the free, has become a land of the constant surveillance. But for a lot of Black folks, this ain't new, family. Black people have been complaining about the same. This is just America finally showing them what we've been battling with for a long time as Black people. Family, surveillance has always been a weapon of control. From slave patrols, keeping records of every movement of Black people, to the FBI spying on Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and other Black leaders, to modern day police departments using tech, to monitor Black neighborhoods. The system has always been about control, not safety. Family, you'd want to say that these systems have been made, to ensure that there is safety. Family, that's a lie. The only reason these systems are actually built and set up is to ensure that they have control over the masses. They want control over the masses, especially in a time when there are big protests, like the one being experienced right now in America. This is what happens when people stay silent while others are being mistreated. Eventually, the same system starts coming for you too. Some white, so while some white Americans are just walking up, to this reality, Black Americans are just watching and saying, welcome to our world. If there is one lesson here, family, it's that justice has to be universal. You can't ignore government abuse when it's happening to someone else and expect the same, to happen for you when the same issue is affecting you. Because once the state gets used to controlling people, it doesn't care about race, class, or politics. It just keeps expanding its reach. So maybe now, with more, people waking up, there's finally a chance for everyone to stand together and say no more surveillance, no more control, and freedom means freedom for everyone. Family, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about the whole ideology of pushing surveillance in America. Do you feel like this is a weapon of control, or this is an issue of safety? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for tuning to watch this episode. I do not take your support for granted. Kindly like the video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users. Lastly, I really appreciate if you all took your time to subscribe to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Guys, thank you so much. See you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.